Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today, I'm going to go a little bit higher end than I normally do, I suppose. This is a Casio Oceanus watch. This is kind of their higher end line of watches from Casio. Oceanus, I think they're all Japanese exclusives as far as if you're going to go shopping for these, you got to go to the Japanese market. However, I was able to find this, I could find it on Amazon, just my regular Amazon account here in the USA. Or on eBay, I could find some reputable, trustworthy sellers in Japan, and that's where I found a reasonable price for this, and I bought it from Japan, and that particular seller had a fast, easy, free shipping option, and before you know it, just a few days later, I had this watch, and it's everything I came to expect because I have basically the fraternal twin of this watch right here. These are the same model of watch, just different colors, but they use the same module, do all the same things. So I've had this one for quite a while already, and I was just intrigued by the color on this new one here. This is the Oceanus OCW-T200S-7AJF. And if you're familiar enough with the Casio naming habits here, the way they name stuff, when they've got a 7 at the end of the model name there, that usually indicates that there's a white face or kind of a white color scheme on that watch. If it has green on it, there's usually a 3 instead of a 7 there. Blue would have a 2 in the model name. If it ends with kind of a 1AJF or just a 1A or something there, then it's just kind of the standard color, which oftentimes is more like a black, especially with the G-Shock watches, maybe with some red highlights. But anyway, 7 for the pretty white face. When I was growing up, my dad had a Seiko that he got when he was on a business trip in Japan, and it had a white face. So I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for really classy looking watches with a white face. This one has sapphire glass crystal, and it has a really great anti-reflective coating on it. And depending on how you look at this, just with the lighting, it might even look like there's no glass on there at all. Like you just stick your finger in there and touch the hands. A lot of fine craftsmanship here. Again, the Oceanus line is kind of a higher end for Casio. And according to legend, I have no independent verification on this, but everyone says that the case of this is prepared in the same place where they do Grand Seiko watches. So some very unique and fine polishing going in here. Just take a look here. Multiple surfaces, kind of a brush surface there, more of a shiny surface right there, just that little edge there, brushed and shiny combinations. And so a really good looking watch. The markers around the face look like they're kind of floating there. I can hardly tell. It's hard to say if around each of these markers, if that's kind of a chrome. It looks kind of blue, and I don't know if that's a little bit of reflection off of the anti-glare coating here, the anti-reflective coating, if that's what makes that look blue against kind of a mirror finish, or if there's a little bit of blue on those things there. It's hard to tell. So it's mostly just kind of a chrome and white, but there is definitely a little bit of a blue accent around some of the features on the face of the watch. Very clean, as you can see, 3-hand analog with a date window there at the 3 o'clock position, the name of the watch right there. And here are just some indications for some of the setting functions on here. See, this watch has a lot of the functions that I really like. For example, tough solar. So the face of the watch has a solar cell built into it, and with exposure to just everyday lighting conditions, that'll give you enough light to keep that battery charged, and it should run for years and years and years without a battery change. Also, it has Multiband 6, which means there's a built-in radio receiver inside the watch, and it will automatically receive atomic time information if you are close to an atomic time transmitter. And there are several places in the northern hemisphere where that's possible. And if you're not in range of an atomic time transmitter that's part of their 6 different transmitters for this particular system, then it'll run just as a regular quartz watch, accuracy to plus or minus 15 seconds per month. And also there's another option there. You can link it to a smartphone app, and using the app, it will synchronize itself. So you could be anywhere in the world as long as you've got a smartphone that works, and you still get that atomic time accuracy with this watch. So lots of options to keep it accurate, and these are some indications on how that's all working. Right down there, AT, S, TD, and DST. Those are indications for your daylight saving time settings. So the watch can automatically change for daylight saving time, or you could set it to only stay on standard time all the time, that STD, or you could have it only on daylight saving time all the time, or the AT is for automatic. So I leave it on the automatic setting. You can access all the settings through a combination of pressing this button here and turning this crown here, or you could do it through the app, and that might be a little bit faster for some people. But for the most part, all you have to do is set it up once with your time zone. Everything else happens automatically. It's got an automatic calendar here, so that if you have months that are less than 31 days, this watch will know that and will automatically advance to the first of the month on the correct day every year, even leap year, every month that has less than 31 days. It does everything you want. Very simple. It doesn't have a backlight. It doesn't have alarms. It doesn't have an hourly chime, those sorts of things. It's very simple in that regard. And so you might be thinking, well, Greg, why are you spending so much money for this fancy Oceanus when I see right there you have a Casio Duro, and that's a fine watch, and everybody likes the Casio Duro, and it doesn't cost nearly as much, and it does the same stuff, 3-hand analog with the date window, and it's a beautiful watch, and why bother spending all the money for this? Well, I'm glad I have both of them. I'll just say that much. The Duro is great, and I'm more comfortable taking this and wearing this in the water at the lake than I am with this guy here. So you could get this Duro right here, maybe for $40, $45 for the watch, and then you could add a bracelet to it for maybe $20, depending on where you'd go for your bracelets, and you'd be all set with a Casio Duro like this, the MDV 106, or in different parts of the world, the MDV 107. Or you can get this one, and this will cost significantly more than that. I just looked up the current exchange according to my Siri on my phone, 66,000 yen. That told me that's about $455, but I was able to get this one for closer to $350. So the way this worked, obviously I bought this one months ago, and it does all the same things, same watch, different color, but otherwise same stuff. And I also, previous to that, I bought this. This is a different model entirely, but this one is this is the OCW-S100. This does not have the Bluetooth connection, but it has the tough solar. It has the atomic timekeeping. It has titanium for the bracelet and for the case. And this one's a little bit more rare now. I had to get this one used because if I tried to get a new one, they were just, they don't make them anymore. It was very expensive. So I did this one, and then I liked it so much, I went ahead and got the Bluetooth version in an unusual color. And I liked this one so much that when I saw this one, I thought, do I want to spend the money again to get a watch that's so similar to what I already have? Yes, I do. It's just such a pretty watch. I had to do it. So the way I kept my eye on this one was I saw that when it was first released just last year, and I saw the initial prices, and then usually the pattern here is the prices go down a little bit and kind of stabilize, and I can go on eBay and go on lots of different sources where I see these for sale, and I can see where a good deal from a reputable seller, there's several that all kind of even out to about the same price. And then I kind of check on availability, and after it's been, about a year or so, I get a little bit concerned that maybe it's something that they're going to discontinue. So before they go completely out of stock, there are a few telltale signs. If I see, for example, you look on eBay and someone's selling these and they say, well, we've got 5 available. And then you look at it a couple months later, we only have 3 available now. And then when they say, we only have 1 available, but if they're all still the same price as when they had 5 available, then I figure I'm okay. But when they start getting down to a very low inventory and maybe the prices start to creep up a little bit, that's where I decide to make my move and say, either I'm going to buy this or I'm not. So, go ahead and get it. And that's kind of what it is. The prices have not been creeping up on this one. I don't know how much longer this will be available if they're going to discontinue production. I really don't have any inside information on that. But so far, about $350, and you can still find them for about that price around. So that was my journey into making the decision to buy this watch. Okay, what more can I tell you about it? Okay, first of all, it's a nice, good bracelet. Okay, I like this bracelet. It's a pin and collar system bracelet here. And so I knew from having the previous version that I had to remove one link from this in order for it to fit my wrist. So I went through the process and recorded that just a few nights ago and just showed you how you can push the pin out. And it's nice if you can get some of these inexpensive watch tools just off, again, eBay, Amazon, places like that. For not much money, you can get some decent tools to help you with these little fine adjustments here. So what I saw on the bracelet, there's an arrow indicating on these links. Each one has, the ones that are removable, has a little arrow there. And then right next to that is the pin that you want to push out in the direction of that arrow. So push that out using your special tool. And when you do that, the pin comes out. And when the pin comes out, you got to be careful. There's a little collar that fits around that pin. And I was able to do it with this one without that collar falling out. But I do caution you, if you're going to be working with these things, that's a tiny, tiny little collar that fits around the pin, right? And if that collar is gone, then the pin won't stay in place when you try to put it back together. So that's why I put a little piece of my microfiber cloth on my work area, keep everything nice and close together, and try to be very careful so that if that collar falls out, it's going to fall on my microfiber cloth. It's not going to roll away. It's not going to bounce off into the carpet and get lost. It's not the end of the world if you lose one of those collars. You can go to packparts.com and get the replacement part. But it is kind of heartbreaking to lose that thing. So I just try to be very careful when I'm working and have some space where I just know it's not going to get away from me and I'm not going to lose that collar. So once I get that out, to remove one link, I had to take the pin and collar out of two links next to each other, remove one of those links, and then just put everything back together with the one link out. So again, making sure that the collar was in there, pushing the pin back in from the direction that it came out, and then using my special tools to just kind of make sure that the pin was in there and flush with the sides of the link, both on the front and the back. And once I got that, and I could just kind of rub my fingers across it like this, and know that nothing was sticking out, I was confident that, okay, we're good to go there. And then just this has a kind of a micro adjustment. It's not very much there. It's either, the first or second adjustment there. Also, though, the nice thing about this Oceanus band is you've got two different sizes of links, this bracelet here. So, you've got kind of this full-size link, and then next to that, kind of a half-size link. And you have that on either side. So you can decide if you need to remove one or more links. If maybe the best fit for you would be to remove one large link and one small link. So even though you don't have all that micro adjustment here on the clasp, you do have some adjustments there. One way or another, again, I already had a watch with this same thing, just in a different color, so I knew exactly what to do to adjust the bracelet for a perfect fit for my wrist. Now, you can use this watch with or without the app. The thing about using the app with this watch is it will allow the watch to automatically update the time zone if you're traveling around. Let's say you've gotten on a plane. They do recommend that you disable the Bluetooth connection while you're on the plane, you kind of airplane mode. Okay, but if let's say you've done that, as soon as you land, you reactivate Bluetooth. It connects to your phone, and it knows that you've changed time zones depending on how your phone is set up, and all of a sudden this will just automatically change to the new time zone. So that's one advantage of using Bluetooth. The other advantage of using Bluetooth would be if you're in an area where, again, there's no atomic time reception from the government-run atomic time broadcasts. So let's say Australia, where they don't have the multiband 6 broadcasts, then you can use your smartphone and you can still get the automatic time adjustment, so it's always correct. It'll check itself up to 4 times a day to make sure it's just synchronized with the correct time. So those are some things you can do with Bluetooth. The other thing that a lot of people get excited about or angry about is that there's no battery indicator here. It is tough solar, so it charges itself, but you don't know if the battery is half charged or fully charged without connecting it to the app. When it's connected to the app, you have a little indicator in the app telling you the state of the battery. Otherwise, if you're just using it like this, it looks like it's okay now, and you would know if it's a low battery, because instead of that second hand making a nice tick every second, it would make a double tick every 2 seconds, and that would be an indication that the battery is low, and you should put this in a brightly lit area and charge up that battery. But I have found that with my tough solar watches, it's really not a problem. There's enough power from just everyday usage, and when you're not using the watch, don't just leave it in a dark drawer somewhere and let that battery drain down without charging. You know, leave it in maybe a watch case where light can get into the case, or leave it on your dresser or something. Just leave it somewhere where it gets some light, and you really don't have to worry about the battery that much. So, yeah. So if you need to have a battery meter, if you need to have the automatic time updating when you change time zones, and if you need the automatic time correction when you're, say, in the southern hemisphere, then yeah, use the app. But you don't really need to use the app. Oh, I should show you the back here. Okay, it's got all your specifications on there. Nice, clean Casio watch case, and then on the back it does show you that it's module 5596, so you can look that up if you want the official instructions from Casio, because I think the ones that came with this were in Japanese. But if I looked up the official instructions on their website, I was able to get them in English. So here you go. All right, so the first thing I would do setting this up is just make sure I'm in the right time zone. And so you got this crown here, and it just kind of turns freely right there unless you pull it out one click. If I pull it out one click, then this is telling me right there, the second hand is 7 seconds before midnight. And that's telling me that the time zone selected here is 7 hours slow from UTC. And that's my time zone, the mountain time zone of the United States. It's UTC -7, and that's why it's pointed there. Now, if I now turn this just one click there, it's gone forward to now 6 hours from UTC, and now it's like I'm in Chicago. And if I do one more, it'll just quickly make the adjustment, and now it's like I'm in New York City. And so I could say, well, okay, I'm in New York City now, and I push that in, and I'm ready to go. It's going to run normally right there. Or if I want to manually set the time, then I'll pull it out 2 clicks, and now what it's telling me is the time is almost 7:15 p.m. So this is pointed a little bit beyond the 12 o'clock position. That's p.m. If I take this around, and if I do this, I'm adjusting the time. And if I do it really fast for a second, I can get it into automatic mode, and it'll just keep going fast. This is if I need to make an adjustment of a few hours, and I don't want to have to keep turning that. I've got it in the fast mode. As soon as this reaches past 12 o'clock, it's going to go to AM, and you will see the second hand quickly move to the other side. Boom. And now it's telling me that this is AM hours. And now from here, I can stop that. And then I could, let's just pretend that the time is exactly 1:20 AM. I just put that there, and then I push the crown in, and now it'll start running normally as though it's 1:20 AM. Also, if I had that pulled out here, and I push this button down here, this allows me to make some other adjustments. For example, this is telling me that the year is 2020 something, okay? So that 2, the 20, that's a given. But beyond that, the next digit would be a 2, the 3, a 4. Right now it'd be 2050 something. And if I push that again, 2054 is what it thinks the year is. Let's change that to 2056, just for the fun of it. And then I push this again, and it's telling me that the month is 1 for January. I could change that to, say, February. And then here, it's going to allow me to set the date. So I could do this, let's see. If I do it that way, I just turn this counterclockwise, and it's moving the date back 1 to a 3. So I could keep doing this and manually set the date. And it's okay that I'm messing it up royally here with my time zone and my time and my year and all that, because as soon as I connect this to the Bluetooth, it's going to fix all that. But I just want to show you how I'm telling it that it's the month of February, right? And I'm going to attempt to set this to, like, say, February 31st. And let's just see what it does. All right, so that's what I've told the watch, and I'm going to push the crown back in and see what the watch does. And the watch says, not sure about this. And let's just see where it decides to land in the year 2056, right? All right, in case you weren't aware, the year 2056 will be a leap year, so the watch is satisfied that it's February 29th. 2056. So I'm going to make one more quick adjustment here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now turn the time back to just before midnight. Okay, and then I'll show you how quickly this goes from a month with less than 31 days to the first of the next month. So I'm just going to say, let's just say the time is now 11:59 on February 29th, 2056. And I'll just let this run for a minute, and after it gets past midnight, we'll see what the date window does. And the watch is smart enough to know that the day after February 29th, 2056 is March 1st. And see how that all advanced all the way there in just a few seconds, less than half a minute to get updated there. And I'm going to correct all of this in just a moment when I connect to Bluetooth. Or the other thing I could do, I could force it to go to the atomic time reception, and that would also correct the date and the time and everything that way too. It is, as far as the atomic time connection, for, let's see, there's 6 transmitters in different parts of the world. There's one in China, there are 2 in Japan, there's one in the UK and one in Germany, and then of course WWVB here in North America. So if I were to press this button, and it's going to, first of all, if I just tapped it like that, it's saying N for no. It's saying, no, I did not receive atomic time information since the last time you were fiddling with all these settings. But if I now hold this down, it's going to say RC. So now it's turned on the radio control, and it's going to try to receive that atomic time information over the next few minutes and then correct itself. I'm going to cancel that, however. Normally this would happen automatically overnight. It would try at midnight, turn on its radio receiver for a few minutes and try to correct itself. Or if it's not successful at midnight, it'll try again 1 hour later. And if that's not successful, it'll try again an hour after that. And it'll keep going up to 6 times every night. The first time it is successful in any of those 6 attempts, it just won't attempt any more until the next night at midnight. So I don't think this is going to work right now because I have some video gear running and, just your typical radio interference problems that are going to keep this from working. But again, when I checked it just a moment ago, and it said, no, I haven't been able to receive. But if it had been successful, like I'll just show you on this one here. This one was successful the last time it tried to set itself. So if I tap the button, then the second hand points to the Y for just a couple of seconds to tell you that, oh yeah, I was able to set myself the last time I attempted it. And then after a few seconds, it just goes back to normal running. So anyway, I'm going to stop this. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to pair it with my phone now and watch everything magically correct itself. Now, there used to be a Casio Oceanus app that would work specifically with these Oceanus watches, and they have now merged the capabilities with the Casio Watches app. Some people don't like the Casio Watches app because it makes you set up an account with your email and a password, and, well, I don't know. I'm a little bit annoyed by that too, just because I'm likely to forget my password It doesn't make you log in with your password every time you use the app, but maybe it will after a few weeks. And then I just got to make sure I wrote my password down somewhere. It was kind of nice, the old app. It didn't force you to use a password, and it didn't lock you out of the app if you forgot your password. But anyway, here's where I've got my Oceanus, my green watch is already paired with this app. So what I'm going to want to do now that I've logged in, I've got my my password, everything set up with this app. So I'm going to go to my watch, and I'm going to press plus here to add a watch. It's going to ask for the module, and I know that because it's on the back of the case. It's also on this little slip here. So I'm going to just enter that number, 5596, and go next. And it already knows, it's going to be one of these watches here. So I'm going to go up here to the OCW-T200S, and then it has a few variations of that watch, which is kind of nice, and it shows you the other versions that are available out there. This one's kind of nice. It's getting a little bit hard to find now, and you can find it, but you'll pay a high price for it. There's the green one I already have, and here's the one with the white face. So that's the one I've got. So I'll go ahead and register this with the app, and it was asking me, what was my purchase date and whatever. So it's prompting me here to hold down this button for 2.5 seconds. 1, 2.5, and okay. Now the second hand is pointed to the C for connecting, and then you can see the app responding to that, and it's telling me the pairing is complete. And now already the watch is racing around to show me the correct time. It's making those corrections. And there you go. It quickly corrected the time, and now it corrected the date as well, and we're ready to go here. There's a little icon here to indicate that it's currently connected. And so I go in here, and this is where it's telling me it's connected. And this is where you can see the battery meter telling me the battery is kind of half there. And it makes sense because this watch was probably sitting in its case for several months before I bought it. So I need to give this a little bit of maybe some indirect sunlight, or just wear this a lot over the next few weeks here, and we'll be able to get that back up to a full charge. No problem there. This has a few things you can do with it. Oh, I forgot to mention you have a phone finder feature if you want to use the app, where you can press a button here on the watch, and it will make a sound on your phone if you lost your phone between the couch cushions or something like that. Then it just has some other things having to do with the watch status. Let's see, time synchronization, just a few things here. Like I said, there's not a whole lot you do with the app because it's such a simple watch. No alarms, no chimes, no things like that on it. But here's one, manual hand adjustment. So if you want to, you can do this without the app. You can do it by pressing a series of buttons here. But if you want to, I can say, well, let's select adjust this hand. That's going to move all the hands to the straight up 12 o'clock position so you can double check them. This watch will automatically check itself from time to time to make sure the hand alignment is correct. Even if you don't do anything, it will kind of do that self alignment for you. But again, this is just a way to kind of check that, and maybe even make an adjustment to that if you need to, just using the app. Like I said, this is also something you can do without the app by pressing a sequence of buttons and using the crown. But I'll just show you how this is done with the app. And right there it says hand position detection success. So I guess actually it's not allowing me to make any adjustments. It's just there. It's just done. So I'll say okay, and we're happy with our hand adjustment alignment there. And so then I say I'm done with that, and then it says again the watch is going to race around to set itself to the correct time again, hours, minutes, and seconds. If I wanted to at this point, I could just push this button here to disconnect from the app, and see the app is going to show me that we're not connected anymore, and the watch is just ready to go. So again, if you like playing around with apps, that's kind of fun. You don't have to do it with this watch if you don't want to. Okay, I'll show you the manual way to do this. Okay, so you pull the crown out 2 clicks, then I press and hold this button here for like 5 seconds. Okay, press and hold, not yet, and there. Now again, it's going to do the hand alignment test, which is basically putting all those hands up to the 12 o'clock position, and then when it's done, and I'm satisfied that everything is pointed straight up at the 12, that's when I push the crown back into its normal position all the way in, and we're good to go. If I wanted to, I could also push this again right now, and it will move the date indicator also back to the number 1, and I could make an adjustment there if I didn't think the number 1 was lined up correctly there in the date window. But again, this is something you're probably really never going to have to do. The watch would be taking care of this for you. But, there are times when it hasn't happened very often, but with my analog watches, say G-Shocks, there are times when I thought that the hands were not correctly aligned. And rather than panic and decide the watch is junk or I have to send it into somewhere in Japan to get it repaired, I was able to do a quick alignment check and an alignment adjustment on some of my other watches, and I'm back in business. It's really simple. It's not something to panic about it. There are ways to do it. I won't belabor the point any more than this, but please don't panic. You're going to be fine, and you might be able to just fix this yourself with just a couple adjustments. In this case, there's nothing to fix. The watch is fine. I'm going to push this crown back in, 2 clicks all the way in. And again, we're good to go. The watch is going to be running just perfectly normal with with everything set just right. Okay. Let's give this watch an official weigh-in here. It comes in at about 129 grams. How does that compare to the green version? It should be pretty close. Yeah, 129. How does that compare to the titanium? It's a different model. Okay, 85 grams. How does that compare to a Casio Duro with a metal bracelet added to it? Oh, quite a bit more. Well, 130 something. How about just a regular G-Shock Square? Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah. And how about something like this Mudman? Okay. Yeah. So, it's, I would say, yeah, it comes on the heavy side of all these watches I'm comparing it to, but I think it's very well balanced. It's very comfortable. I don't think weight is an issue at all as far as comfort, and it just wears nice and it looks great. Here's how the watch looks on my wrist. It's about a 7.5-inch wrist. So, not bad at all. It is a gorgeous watch. I'm really happy with it. I know it costs more than a Duro, but boy, there are just going to be times when I'm going to be all dressed up, and that is going to be a very, very cool, fun watch to wear on those special occasions. Oceanus, I'm telling you, you can spend a whole bunch more than $400 or $500 on a Casio Oceanus watch. These are like entry level Casio Oceanus watches. You can get the ones that have more subdials and just a lot more fancy stuff there in the face, and you can get up, well above $1,000, couple $1,000, just depending on what kind of watch you want to get. These are, again, a Japanese market exclusive, but they're not difficult to get in other parts of the world if you just find someone that's in Japan that's selling these. Or, like I said, this one, I would have paid a little bit more to get it on Amazon, but I could have got it on Amazon just using my regular old standard American account. I could have got this exact same watch. So, yeah. And again, if you're used to going down to Walmart and finding stuff like this, I mean, more power to you. But if you want to try something that you're just not going to find, it's not that difficult to get it elsewhere. You got to go out of your way a little bit. It's just a nice find. You feel like you got some sort of special treasure when you went international and got something like this Oceanus, don't you think? Yes, there is glow-in-the-dark or lume material on the hands and the markers on this watch, and this is better than you'll find on your average Casio watches. They have stepped up for the kind of premium Oceanus line of watches. You've got some really, I like that. It's kind of this bright, more of a blue-green glow there, and I really like the way, and that lasts quite a while. Now, I can compare this to a very, very more affordable, Casio Duro watch, and you can just kind of see there, it just looks like it's a whole different ball game with Oceanus, don't you think? I mean, the Duro is great, but boy, just look at the difference there. And thanks for watching. I know this has been a long video, but I get excited about these. They're such gorgeous watches, and they're on the higher end of what my budget allows me to comfortably get as far as watches go. So for me, these are the fanciest watches I own, and I really, really like them. I don't have any specific plans to get another Oceanus watch, but we'll see. I don't know. It's the beginning of the year. Who knows what they'll announce next? I might just be the kind of guy that if they put this out in a different color, I would be tempted. I don't know if I'm going to go for those, $2,000 Oceanus watches someday. I got a few things to take care of financially before something like that would happen. But anyway, there's everything I wanted to tell you about the Oceanus watch, stainless steel. This other one is the titanium one that has the S in the name. This one with the T in the name is actually the stainless steel one, not titanium. So look around, and if they're still out there and your budget can allow, I think it's something very much worth considering. And I have other things that you might want to consider. So I hope you will join me again. I've got more episodes coming soon of the Good Timekeeping Show.